this point, the three major methods that we'll see on the market, Qing Ban, like in the US, typically all we see is we have choices between Jiang Ban Xia and Fa Ban Xia. Qing Ban Xia can be a fairly popular method in China, and Sheng Ban Xia theoretically could still be used. It's still in formulas. Occasionally you'll see Sheng Ban Xia in a formula. Typically people don't ever actually use that though. So Sheng Ban Xia has outstanding capacities. Before processing, it's actually better for transforming phlegm and stopping cough, and mostly useful in external pain and toxic swelling, so you could grind it up and place it on your skin and use it for some type of cold nodule, like a lymphoma or maybe not, that's probably not the best place to start. Maybe a lipoma might be a better place to start. So Sheng Ban Xia processing is just taking the original material, remove any impurities, and let it dry. And when the time is right, pound it to bits. It's good to wait until the right time. Qing Ban Xia, Qing is like the clear Ban Xia. Similar, it's a method of soaking and steeping, so this is called piao processing, soaking the materials in clean water and then rinsing repeatedly to eliminate the toxic effect. Qing Ban Xia also may have some boiling depending upon which book you're looking at. The effect of the processing is to strengthen the phlegm transforming ability, so its outstanding abilities to drying dampness and transforming phlegm. The actual method itself is described here. Take Ban Xia that has been cleaned and sorted according to size. That's actually important to sort according to size when we're doing these type of boilings, because if you have something that's really tiny and something that's really huge, you end up having something that will get finished way before something else. And so when you finish, you'll have something that's overcooked and something that's undercooked. And sort according to size so that everything reaches the finish point at the same exact time. In this case, take them, sort according to size, and then you're going to use 8% alum aqueous solution to soak. And then you soak them and you soak them and you wait until that they've been soaked all the way through. You can see that the central portion of the tuber is now has a slightly different affect to it. It's sort of received the moisture. It's a little bit translucent. At this point, the medicinal should still have induce a slightly numb, tingly feeling on the end of your tongue. You know, don't check too many times. You can only. Yeah, I mean so that would be the tingly. I mean it's significant. I mean if you're doing a full-on Sheng Ban Xia and you touch it to your tongue, you should get essentially glass shards. You've done no processing at all. If we do this wash and soak with the alum, we'll get some amount of processing, and so it won't be as glass shardy on your tongue. Matt's insane. Matt has great stories about treating himself with unprocessed medicinals, and most of us that have gone through, I mean, I think that's why I start with the Shenong thing the other day, because Shenong ate all the medicinals, poisoned himself, and then found the antidote and poisoned himself, and then the one day he didn't find the antidote, and then that's the end of Shenong's story. And I think some of us have come a little closer to that mark than others, and I think Matt's one of them. But this is a good way to learn, you know. I mean, it's horrible to say, but anyway, we'll get back to this. It's better to experiment on yourself than it is on your patients, or it's better to experiment on your friends than it is your patients. Typically, your friends will be less offended when you screw up with them. Maybe. Depends how bad it is. So, going back to Qing Ban Xia, you know, we soak it until the numbness has been reduced, and then we take it out, wash, cut into pieces and dry, cut them into like halves or quarters, and then after you dry completely, then you crush them more, sieve off the broken fragments or the tiny little dust particles. In this case, for every 100 kilograms of Ban Xia, you should use 20 kilograms of alum, or for every 100 grams of Ban Xia, you should use 20 grams of alum. Yeah. Imagine what it would be like to have, you know, 200 pounds of Pinellia to process. This is the most common method, is Jiang Ban Xia, the ginger and alum process method. So, and I think most of us, the kind of hallmark combination of Ban Xia is Ban Xia and Shengjiang, Pinellia ternata and fresh ginger for vomiting. It's a wonderful duayao, a combination of 2 medicinal herbs. Kind of oddly, it's used in pregnancy formulas frequently and has been for 2,000 years. So there's always this kind of, in modern TCM, it's a prohibition to use a quote-unquote toxic Pinellia ternata during pregnancy. But then looking at the processing stuff, you wonder that... Anyway, there's more to say about that. I mean, it's unprocessed, it's toxic. Processed, it should be non-toxic. In the formula combinations, it'll have further reduced toxicity. Jiang Ban Xia processed with ginger and alum. Its major function is to stop vomiting. Its outstanding abilities are to warm the center, transform phlegm, down bear, reversal, and stop vomiting. So it's good for phlegm, rheum, vomiting. P syndrome, which is like this type of epigastric focal distension, which may or may not actually be palpably felt. So looking at the processing, this is Pinellia tripartita, which is not standard Ban Xia in the Chinese pharmacopoeia. This is used in Japan as Da Ban Xia. So I just say that so no one tells me that this is not Pinellia ternata. It's not Pinellia ternata. Yeah, so we take that and we take the Ban Xia that has been cleaned and sorted according to size, and we use fresh water to soak it. And we soak until the inside part is no longer dry, and then we take it out. So after we remove it, the first part is to take the fresh ginger and cut it into pieces and decoct in water, and then crush the alum in the Ban Xia, cook thoroughly for a few hours, and then take out. So here we are cooking the fresh Ban Xia tubers with the Pinellium and the alum. For every 100 kilograms of Ban Xia, you should use 25 kilograms of Shengzhang and 12.5 kilograms of alum. Yeah. So when we're done, it has taken on, we can see that it's cooked all the way through, and it is yellow. I mean, everything looks yellow in that picture, so it's not that easy to see. You dry it until it's half dry, and then you cut into thick pieces. You dry further, sieve off the broken fragments, and you'll end up with something that looks like that. Sort of. This is my processing. This was my harvest of the tripartita, and then the processing of it. We have some of that material up here. It's not that interesting to look at. Pinellia. So the last method, or actually just some details about the soaking. Like they will mention that when you're soaking these things, it's actually important to see bubbles. So some of the first parts of the processing is soaking. And then the first one is just soaking in water. And if it's not producing bubbles, like to produce Qing Ban Xia, just soaking in water, or doing Sheng Ban Xia. So adding some alum to actually help the bubbles be generated is helpful. And then Fa Ban Xia is the last one that we'll discuss, which is processing with lime and licorice. So this is to help eliminate cold phlegm and regulate the spleen and stomach. This is more for damp phlegm turbidity in the spleen itself rather than vomiting or some type of external need function. Fa Ban Xia processing, similar also. So take the Ban Xia that's cleaned and sorted according to size, soak in fresh water. So we're soaking in fresh water. If there's no bubbles, maybe add some alum to get bubbles. Once it's soaked all the way through, take out. And then you're going to make the Gan Xia soup. So you take, I have some numbers somewhere, but use so for every 100 kilograms of Ban Xia, you can use 15 kilograms of Gan Xia. So wherever you're at on that spectrum, if say it's 100 grams, use 15 grams of Ban Xia, decoct that, and then pour off the supernatant, and then add water, decoct it a second time, and then add the two supernatants together. Combine the fluid from the two boils, pour into the appropriate amount of processed lime water, and then mix evenly. So you're mixing your Gan Xia soup with your lime water, processed lime water. And then at that point, you begin soaking. So you add in your pre-soaked Ban Xia, and then you soak it in the Gan Xia and lime soup. Every day you're going to agitate it 1 or 2 times. Make sure the pH is above 12, so it's a very basic solution. And then you want to check inside to make sure that the entire surface, the internal surface of the cut surface is turned yellow to show that it's absorbed the licorice. And again, you'll taste it. and you're shooting for something that doesn't taste like a pile of broken glass, but it's not totally not like a little shard of glass. A little tingly, not like glass stabbing-y. Take out, rinse clean, shade dry, overheat, shade dry or dry overheat. When the time is right, pound to pieces. So again, Fa Ban Xia, 100 kilograms of Ban Xia, 15 kilograms of Gansao, and 10 kilograms of quicklime or calcium oxide, which is lime. Again, pHs must be 12, and then you can add more lime to adjust the pH. That's Ban Xia.